All right. Looks like it's recording. And then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and get started and just say, welcome to the PDX TUG. This is December edition. This is the very last tug of the year. And we're going to bring things home with a bang. So, again, I'm flying solo today as far as the leadership group is concerned. My name is Chris Williams. Represent my own company, Precision Analytics Group. I've been doing Tableau for about 11 years now. So this is going to be fun. My tag team partners, Danny is actually traveling right now. So is Emily. And then May had an appointment. So it's just going to be me today. So we're going to just go through everything that we've done in 2023. We're going to try to look forward to see what we want to do in 2024. We really want to have all of that input from you as well. So if you're, happy to be on the call, that's great. I want this to be interactive. Go ahead and tell us what you're looking for. What were some of the high points? What were some of the things you'd like to see us do more when we get into 2024 with the tug? Because this is not this is your tug too. So we want to make sure that we get all of that information tabulated, and then we can go ahead and act on that as we create our agendas going forward. Okay. I'm going to share with you some of my favorite visits that I had. And then I really just want to open it up and talk about, what you want to see. I mean, I want this to be a very interactive session today. So let's go ahead and make sure that we do that. Okay. So looking back and looking forward. So going through 2023, we had 4 in-person events, which was really phenomenal. We had the event at the Rose City Book Pub, and that was really rewarding. You can see some of the pictures that we had from there. We also had stuff at the Mox boarding house as well, and backyard social, which was fantastic. And then I was actually at the one at Kiln, which was great, and it was really wonderful to be able to get in front of everybody again to see what was happening and see how wonderful that facility was. So as we matriculate through 2024 and get into that, what I want to do is see, of these 4, venues that we actually traveled to, which ones resonated with you best, which ones you would like to see maybe enter into this. Anybody who's on the call right now, please feel free to go ahead and open your, unmute yourself. Just talk to me. What actually worked best for you when it came for the in-person events? Are there other in-person events that like the venues? Did you like the venues? Were there things that you would like to see? Please just go ahead and pipe in as you would like. Okay, so one of the requests was actually to have something on the west side of town, which is something that I lived on the west side when I was in Portland. Um, Traversing that bridge during rush hour is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world. Totally get it. We can definitely take that into account. Did you enjoy what you participated in if you were able to go to any of these events? Yeah, don't be bashful. I mean, just go ahead and you can speak however you want. Okay. So yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about Mox Boarding House. I thought that was. I wish I could have come to that one. And what I'll do is I'll probably make it a point to go to this next one. Um, and that's fine. And what we want to do is have the mix of fun, um, camaraderie, establishing camaraderie, and also understanding what people are doing in Tableau, because that's one of the main reasons why we're here. So to be able to have some of these in-person events is pretty critical. So what we can try to do going forward is since we've had a lot of positive feedback from Mox Boarding House and that event there. So this might be something that we'll take back to the team and say, let's do something else there. And as far as the information on the having places on the west side, that's perfectly fine too. That would be something that I would love to be able to go ahead and do. So, for me coming in from out of town, um, I don't mind where it is. I just want people to be happy and be able to get there. So this is the main thing that I'm looking for. But anything positive that we could take out of this, that would be ideal for me. So I'll make sure I get that information out and make sure that we go ahead and do that as well. Okay. So one of the things that we did when we were going through, 2020 is we had some really good conversations. We had some wonderful, presentations, specifically the Oregon Health Authority's Essence, which I'll bring up in a second. I'll show you that page. Having people come in there and show us what they have on Tableau Public right now. We had wonderful, one of my close friends, Brandy Beals, come in and talk about Tableau catalog. She's one of the great people in this Tableau and data industry. It's an honor to have her, speak at our group. And, she's just a wonderful resource, a wonderful wealth of knowledge. To have that have that individual come and talk to us is a fantastic situation. Um, we reviewed the 2020, new features. Madeline and Alfonso came in and spoke to us about the new features within Tableau. I'm excited about, some of the new stuff that is coming up this year in Tableau. That's great. We talked a little bit about the Tableau crash course, having a beginner, intermediate, and advanced type of topics. One of the things that being able to talk about LODs, being able to talk about parameters, and then just having more hands-on activities are things that we would really love to go ahead and institute going forward. The beginning, middle, and the end of the day, what we want to do is have anybody who's a part of the Tableau user group come in here and understand exactly, we want you to get stuff out of this every session that we have, whether it be just hands-on stuff, whether it be just conceptual stuff. We want to make sure that you have a comfort zone and understanding on the topics that we want to present to you, and then being able to put it into a way in which that you have, you can take this information and go ahead and bring it back to your everyday, work activities and apply them, figuring out how to take these use cases and push it over to what you're doing on a day-to-day basis or a month-to-month basis, stuff like that. Last but not least, we talked about TC. TC was out of Vegas last time. This coming April 24. At the end of April, it's going to be in San Diego. We'll be more than happy to go ahead and talk to you about more details about that as they come available. I've been pretty much a hawk about trying to figure out what's actually going to be covered, but I'm excited. And then for those of you who are fortunate enough to be able to go, that'd be fantastic. If you haven't been to one, it's something that I would definitely recommend doing, at least in some capacity, to get there and experience it. If you're unable to experience it, we'll try to bring it to you. So I'll personally be, doing some live look-ins over there. I'll record some sessions or some excerpts of sessions when I'm there. What I mean by that is I'll record some of the things that I've seen on each day, and then be able to present it to you. So we can do that. And then obviously for that particular month, since it's at the end of the month, that might be something that we talk about at the beginning of May, which we do at the first Thursday of every month. That might be, some of the highlights from TC would be discussed in that May edition. Okay. So, one of the things I really want you to think about and sort of challenge you all is what are some topics that you really would like to see going forward? What are some of the topics that you want to see us? How many more hands-on activities would you like? We've gotten some feedback asking us a little bit about, hey, can we go deeper into LODs, which was something that I did. Can we do more of a hands-on type of activity to really enforce some of these topics, or maybe have a more hands-on approach to not just speaking from a slide perspective on parameters and how to use parameters. Maybe we do something more which we take a problem and then we solve it using parameters and have everybody walk through it. That might be something that we can do as well. Another thing, another thing that we can do is that if you have questions with your own dashboards or your own server or anything like that, we want to make sure that we can also turn this into a session that's interactive, in the sense that we can turn this almost into a Tableau doctor session. Let's see if we can help you. Let's see if we can figure out exactly, where you might be hitting a wall or might be having an impediment. So let's see if we can, we want to make this, I know that the team has discussed about trying to make this a bit more, hey, let's make sure we include everybody and what people are seeing and being able to apply things, just more hands-on keyboard type of things. How do you all feel about that right now? I mean, that kind of concept, am I hitting the mark? Okay, Tableau doctor session would be great. That's something that I love. I've done stuff with dashboards. I've done stuff with various dashboards that point to various different data sources. And I'm also dealing a lot with Tableau Online and Tableau Server. And you see some random things at times that you want to make sure that you can get some sort of clarity on what's happening. And if we can shed some light on that, I'd be more than happy to do that in these sessions. So maybe we just have a Tableau doctor session, and then what you could do is, let us know that, hey, maybe for, part of, maybe we introduce that as part of, what we do. If we get a lot of people looking for a Tableau doctor help, that might be something that maybe we want to incorporate into anything that we're doing going forward, right? We may want to have like, hey, the last 30 minutes of the session, we can start by, seeing if anybody has any, things for Tableau Doctor. And if we do, then we address it. If we don't, then we, maybe have another topic in waiting. Does that sound like that could potentially be useful? Aha. So you mentioned something that's very interesting. So, in the chat, Kimberly mentioned maybe seeing if there's an interest in a little low-key Iron Viz with Superstore data. We also have that new IMDb data. If you haven't been able to get your paws on that, go ahead and get your paws on that. That's really basically a free data source to do whatever the heck you want with it. And those are not easy to come by. Personally, with all the client work that I do, a lot of the data that I work with it may not be like HIPAA protected or anything like that, or you don't have PII, but it's sensitive, and it would potentially draw an issue because you're trying to protect dollars and cents and account numbers and all that jazz. You don't necessarily want to use it. Get your hands on that. Superstore data is great. Get your hands on that IMDb data, and maybe being able to post something in our section in Bevy for our user group and say, hey, go ahead and create a viz off of this data set and see what happens. And it's not, maybe I think we can probably figure out some swag for people who place high, and win or something like that. But what I want to do is, for stuff like that, I just want to make sure that this is fun. We're all understanding and all learning about what to do and how to play around with these visits and make ourselves better as a whole. So I don't want this to get too out of, I don't want to go Hollywood and just make anybody feel less than by doing something else. But an Iron Viz, just to play around with the data and see what people's creative mindsets are, is super. So I think that's a great idea. So yeah, we'll go ahead and take that into account as well. Sound good? Okay. So I am hopping around a little bit. Okay. So here are some topics that I wanted to throw your way, and you know, custom color palettes. I know that there are times in which, depending on the clients or your particular organization that you work for, you may have custom a CSS or something of that ilk that you need to pay attention to. Um, Figuring out how to do custom colors for your particular organization is probably pretty mandatory, especially if you are the face of that. Your work is the face of that organization. If you have colors, you want to make sure you adhere to that. So that might be something that these are some of the topics that we're thinking about. Um, Tableau certifications. I mean, I know that this is something that we'll figure this out. And these are some things that possibly could be helpful if you want to get certified. We can point you into the right direction of what how you can get certified. What are some of the paths? Where do you go on the site to get these exams? So I mean, a lot of this stuff comes into play, so we can shed some light onto that if that's something that you're interested in. Order of operations, being able to dig deeper into that. Accessibility and data bias. This is a concept that is not just a Tableau thing. It's a dashboard thing, and it's an analytics thing. So the concepts that we cover with this, especially in a Tableau, framework, can definitely be useful, not just in the Tableau world, but in general. Health analytics. Um, I have had some health KPIs depending on what you're trying to measure. These are some things that you also probably want to think about, as well as what you can do. So, keep that in mind. And in higher education, how is this going to be applied? How is everything that you're doing right now applying in say like a college or a university environment? What are they looking for? What are some of those KPIs? How do we go ahead and how do colleges and universities use Tableau to further support what they're trying to get done, whether it be from an enrollment standpoint, whether it be from um, you know, the classes themselves, who's taking what, some of the parameters for the classes, uh, in a bunch of different items like that. If you're an alumni association, you're trying to track who's paying or how much revenue you're getting from people's donations. These are sort of nice aspects that you can track, and then you can also display on the dashboard or story, however you want to look at that. These are some items that you can definitely think about. So these are just six of some topics, as well as the ones that you've mentioned about Tableau Doctor, potentially about a mini Iron Viz. If you have others, please feel free to either drop us a line, send me a line, post them up um, on the user group site so that we can see it. We want to try to get more conversation our um, between our meetings, so that we can actually get to a point where we have complete transparency and complete interaction and and discussions going on, so that when we get to the point of actually doing this on every the first Thursday of every month, we can get some interaction from you to understand what it is that you're looking to do and what you're looking to have going forward. What is it that we've listened to you. We want to hear from you. This is your tug as well. We want to make sure that you understand exactly that we're listening to you, and that we care about what you think and what you want to see, because we want to make this worth your while as far as the time is concerned. Okay. So any questions on that? Okay. All right. So let's continue on. And so this is a fun part. I'm going to talk about some of my favorite visits, and I'm also going to visit some of the ones that the one that we showed during our presentation. So I'm actually going to go back into this here. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to share my entire screen so that we can see what's going on here, okay? So let me do this, and I'll end this here. All right, so 1 second as we get to our point. I'm just going to share the screen. Okay, we'll do this, and we'll do this. So first thing I want to do is talk about, what we showed earlier. So Oregon Essence, we had a nice presentation. I believe it was sometime over the summer about this. And so this actually shows you the dashboard here of what they've created. This is actually on Tableau Public right now. So you have a situation where you have all these tabs. So we have total visits. Let me reconnect. So this tells you, the daily counts of the emergency department and urgent care visits in Oregon. And you can see this down here as you scroll down. Right now it's defaulted to 2023. You have all these data points here. And then obviously you can go use this radio button to go from year to year. If you want to see that, the count and how it differed in certain months between the year, you can go ahead and do that. Obviously, we want to kind of know what's happened recently. It looks like it's been on a monthly basis, and it gives you all of this information, okay? And then obviously you have heat-related issues. You can click on that. It gives you more of a reason. You can see the spike in August and September. You see a little spike here in, July as well. Obviously, we've been, before I moved, we were in Portland for God knows how long. I've been in Portland for about 8 years, and I know that August, July through September, you can get some ridiculously high temperatures for this area. So this doesn't surprise me on the spike. But, again, it's kind of like, really interesting to see this from a Tableau standpoint. And then obviously you have some others here like smoke, fire and smoke. And then you can see probably the correlation to the air quality here with the fire and smoke. So these are some things that that we were able to talk about when this presentation happened. So this is actually done by the Oregon Health Authority, and it's on Tableau Public for you to peruse. But some of my favorite ones we're actually going to talk about, and this one actually is kind of neat. So this is basically it's thanks for the movies. It's actually thanks for Tom Hanks movies. So if you're familiar with Forrest Gump, Life is a Box of Chocolates, I only really watched that movie about several years ago for the very first time from start to finish. But Life is a Box of Chocolates is really pretty much what this is about here. So if you take a look at this, you have this box of chocolates, and you have all of these actually representing a particular genre. So you have action here, then you have adventure here, animation, biography, comedy, crime, and so forth. So you have all of these chocolates here. So if you highlight some of these, you'll see Big, and that's Big is one of those, I believe it's a comedy, yeah. And then, you can highlight over all of these and see information based off of the rollovers on what the movie was, what its rating was from the IMDb, and then what the movie was about, and obviously Tom Hanks's character. But if you take a look at this is probably one of the great. I think it's one of my favorite ones because you can basically highlight everything here, and you can see how cool the visualizations are, and then what you can get from this information and what you can get from all these movies here. So it's pretty neat. So this is something I just kind of wanted to at least go ahead and show you because, sometimes when you peruse Tableau Public, you find some things that you're just like, whoa, that's pretty neat. I never really thought about that. And this is one of them that kind of struck it with me. So Guess what are your thoughts? And actually, I'm going to go over one more, just because I think it's pretty cool too. And as you can tell, I'm a movie buff, and this one by Zach Bowders. Let me go back in here and actually highlight the viz. So there are three types of packs. There's the Rat Pack, and I'm kind of dating myself here. You have Sinatra, Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. Those three pretty much were the Rat Pack. Then you have the Brat Pack. I'm in '80s. I grew up in the '80s. You have you know Molly Ringwald, Emilio Estevez, Rob Lowe, Judd Hirsch. Um, those that's the Brat Pack, and then the Frat Pack would be Ben Stiller, Luke Wilson, um, Vince Vaughn, people like that. So this visualization, I'm actually going to try, and it almost kind of looks like a star schema. And so, in the sense that you have, Peter Lawford, and then I'm going to highlight Molly Ringwald. That's important. So all of these little dots represent all of the movies that she's been associated with, and it's pretty neat to be able to have that. And then, how do these guys and gals interact with each other? So sometimes you'll have a situation where you have Ali Sheedy and you'll have Demi Moore, and then all of these movies. So like Molly Ringwald, Ali Sheedy. Down here you have Emilio Estevez, and over here Judd Nelson. I think I said Judd Hirsch before, but Judd Nelson. And then all of them met here with in Anthony Michael Hall with The Breakfast Club. Probably one of my favorite movies ever. If you haven't watched it, you should. It's a typical, fantastic movie, almost like a cult movie. So everything met here. So you can get all of that information. Sometimes you could see crossovers. You have Rob Lowe here, and then you have Will Ferrell from the Frat Pack meeting over here at Austin International Man of History. So you have all these movies here, and then you have the one reason why I kind of brought up Molly Ringwald is she's the one who's actually been in movies with both the Rat Pack and the Frat Pack. So everything kind of revolves around her in a way. So this visualization just shows a little bit more about the degrees of separation between these particular packs. I thought it was very innovative, and brings back a lot of memories here and there. So if do any of you have some favorite visits, or is this something that can? It almost looks like a constellation in a way, which is pretty neat. So I just want to make sure that I capture everything that you are, some of the things that are looking for as well, because this is pretty neat. It's really quite fun to be able to play around with this, and I just want to make sure I capture the comments as well. I know it's going to be here for days. And so this is a pretty neat one. I just look at this and I'm just like, wow, there's so much going on, but it's not like totally out of the world going on. It's not like it's super hard to follow. Ben Stiller, you can see all of these the ones where he and Owen Wilson were getting in there together. You can see the ones where you have some of these all together, Starsky and Hutch with Owen Wilson. I mean, the Frat Pack and the Brat Pack. So I thought this was a really neat way to go ahead and recognize all of these movies, but also recognize and try to bring these guys together. So I'm going to probably, download this workbook and take a look at it. Sometimes what I tend to do is I use, if I'm hitting a writer's block, or in this case, it's a visualization block, what I'll tend to do is come into Tableau Public and really take a gander and be like, okay, um, I need to clear this block. What the heck is going on with my system? Let me go ahead and get some inspiration from others. So in this case, that's exactly what I did. I would come in here and take a look at that. It's like, that's pretty cool. I want to see how they did that. I want to see how, the box of chocolates, that's amazing. I was looking at that. I was just like, my goodness, what the heck? And so this is pretty neat. So one other thing I'd kind of like to do, and I do a lot with nonprofits. Um, and food security is something that hits home with me. I've been working on that within analytics for years. Um, this is a simpler but very informative dashboard because you take a look at what's being said here. This is a static image. You have your radio button that contains what percentage of land is arable um, and equipped for irrigation so that you can help, you know, plant food. You have a 1, 2, and 5% as your radio buttons. So it'll actually highlight everything for you down here as you click your radio buttons, which is pretty neat. It gives you a little bit something really simple on how to read this map. A dark red indicates a high, um, indicate population density. You know, the dark actually satisfies this particular threshold that we're looking at. And then as you scroll down, you can, if you highlight the image, you can actually use your radio, your roller to go in and out on there. But if you want to just go ahead and scroll down, you can actually get more information about this. So you can say over time, you can see this combination chart here that gives you the year ranges. I believe they're in 6-year interval groups. And so that'll tell you how to, potentially build your groups, figure out how to plot them on your chart and have a combination bar chart. Um, and, this is something that can be really useful as well. Obviously, I like this one because it's simple and clean and you can answer 5 or 6 questions right off the bat by just looking at this dashboard and you understand the thesis of the purpose of the dashboard. You understand if you highlight over this, you'll get all of this information from it. You can click on this a little bit more. You can get more information on here. All of this information really is pretty simple. It's high level and it's great. And so if I were to change this back to 1% where we started off on, then you have these 24 countries here, and then that will enable you to figure out what those countries are. And as you highlight on the map, it'll actually give you the outline of these countries. Okay. So those are 3 that are really, really, pretty cool that I like. I guess as we go through this, and I just want to make sure that um, I want to hear what you have to say. I want to understand what it is that you like seeing. What would you like this tug to do in 2024? I kind of want to understand where you would like to be when it comes to the tug in 2024. I want to just be able to go ahead and understand what you want to do. The data plus movies is a great challenge, and just being able to go ahead and get that data set, just getting the data set alone is something tremendously special. And what are your thoughts? What would you like to see going forward? What would you like to see us do? You can type it in if you want to. If there's anything that you want to see in particular, I would definitely be more than happy to go ahead and do that. Kimberly, go for it. I actually made you. I actually made you. You can share. You can share your screen if you want. Oh, technical issues. Okay. So you want to work toward more UX and UI stuff. That's cool. If there's something in particular, like a particular use case that you would like to have, oh, you're having okay. Um, aha. See, I see a lot of Figma. I'm getting more and more used to Figma. It's coming up a lot in a lot of conversations. Um, and it's pretty neat. I always like seeing I want to say new kids on the block, and I mean that not in a demeaning way, but I mean that in like every time a tool comes into play, or every time a new tool gets introduced, it makes it makes the whole industry better because everybody decides to ramp up their game. And who wins when that happens? Us as the consumers. And then from a Tableau standpoint, it helps them because they're just like, okay, let's go ahead and let's see what's happening. Oh, this is a neat idea. So I'd be interested to see, from a personal standpoint, I'd like to see what it can do. But yeah, so you do it at Nike? Okay. Yeah, wonder what. Yeah, I need to see that, and that would be something that, I know that I also run the Alteryx user group down here, and one of the things that I like to do in that situation is really understand what you all are doing. To be able to show that, I would love for you to show us, just like what are you guys doing? Like, how do you use Tableau in your environments? This is something that we really want to get into because this actually helps us formulate what we want to do going forward. Because if we see you using Tableau in a certain way, you may give somebody else an idea who might not have thought about that, another way to go ahead and solve their problems, or at least another way to focus on showing a particular KPI or something like that. Or if you're running into mapping issues like you were talking about and you use Figma to do that, that would be super. Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna, talk. I think Kimberly said the area of interest for her, is to balance out the cool, highly presentable viz that we see on Tableau Public with the internal dashboards that you make it work. Well, one thing that I would definitely say is if you're doing something, all these ones that we see here on Tableau Public are really fun and cool, um, and there are a couple things you want to think about. Um, Knowing your audience is one thing, and what I mean by that is that how eager are they to see things in a different manner? Are they very locked in on looking at a combination chart with conditional formatting for simple boxes? Are they looking for, are they just trained to look at certain things? How much flexibility do you have in your creativity in order to display stuff? Um, if you have animation, if you can use animation in a way that A, doesn't take too long to load, and B, gives the end user, the stakeholders, the information exactly the way they need it, then I see no reason why you shouldn't be using it. It's all about what boxes you can check when you're doing, your visualization, and how quickly someone can get their answers. So if no matter what level your individual that you're catering to is at, whether it be at a C level or at a worker B level or everywhere in between, if you have a dashboard that you want somebody to look at, the one thing I would just being in the industry a long time, how long does it take for the page to load, and what information can I get from that page? So if you get that situation, if you have some really cool stuff, but it doesn't take that long to load, go for it, because people tend to get impatient when it takes about 15 seconds to load something plus, unless that experience has been a lot more, uh, due to other, prevailing reason. Maybe your network's a little slow, maybe you have a huge data set, or maybe, some other shenanigans might be happening that you may not be necessarily privy to. Um, that would be something that you probably want to think about. Like, what is actually going to work for that? But being able to display cool stuff and getting the information to your end users is the perfect balance. It's just the thing that I would really pay attention to is how long does something load. So, okay, let me look at this here. So, yeah, if you want to ever present anything, we would love to have any one of you tell us what you're doing. You know, just tell us what you're doing, or show us what you're doing. If you want to do that. Okay. I don't know if something happened with my I'm not sure what happened, but clearly you can't hear me and you see a black screen. Let me see if I can present. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? That's weird. I don't know what happened. Okay. We've got gremlins in the system. I have no idea what happened. That is random. Okay. The one good news is that this is being recorded, and all of this can be, viewed again later if you would like. Um, so just think about what it is that you want to do. Think about if there's a presentation you'd like to have. Just let us know. We'd be more than happy to give you time to talk about how you use Tableau in respect to whatever else you're doing on a day-to-day basis at Nike. We would love to hear about that. Oh, that's cool. And then yeah, just feel free to be able to go ahead and talk about it. I'll try to start up some conversations uh, in our um, in our section on Bevy, in our user group section, to be able to go ahead and do that. So if anybody else if you have any other questions, um, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and end the session. Okay. As always, it's a pleasure to have everybody here today. Thank you so much for your time. Um, Happy holidays to you. And we'll see you next year. That sounds weird, but it's true. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.